Hello everyone! Welcome to another video. In this video, we are going to be taking an exploration into an amplified jungle biome, where I am going to be transforming it into my own piece of art, a jungle temple and surrounding city. Let's get started, shall we? To start off, I'm going to be stripping down this terrain, taking out all of the existing trees, the water, and changing it all to stone. Then I'm going to be using the Worldedit plugin to change around my terrain and smooth things out a little bit, getting rid of all of those quirky floating islands. Then we're going to be adding back in the color, this time focusing a lot more on the deep browns and greens, and also shading in the cliffs a little bit more since there are so many of them. Once we get the rest of the colors and the water added back in, then it's time to focus on planning out our little city. I'm going to be doing this in a different way from what I normally do. I've been watching some other builders like Pearlescent Moon build, and I decided that I wanted to take on a different style of structure. So I went around my little city and used the set command in Worldedit to set a bunch of rectangles. Then I detailed these, adding a roof and windows and a door to each one, and some extra things along some structures, like a little water channel in some spots to add back in all of those beautiful waterfalls, and a water wheel in that arching building. I really wanted to go with minimalistic details on all of these structures because they're meant to be a background feature. They're really set into the rocks and blending into the jungle, and that's their purpose. So I really didn't want to add very many details and have them stand out a lot. Now it's time to continue our planning towards the back, where I mark in a wall and a large round structure and start figuring out where our temple is going to be. Speaking of that temple, it's time to tackle that. I had a lot of amazing reference art for that I'll link down below. But the main thing I wanted to do is have something that is tall and epic and a little bit more of a centerpiece to the build. So I went to work detailing all of the different layers, almost like a layered cake. And then off to the side, I wanted to have a statue. So I built a small statue of a beautiful woman pouring water out of a jug into our ocean. Although a statue like this is Greek-inspired, I believe, I decided that it could fit in my jungle if I worked with it enough, and I do think that it adds quite a lovely touch of organic into this very structure and terrain-heavy build. Now let's turn our attention back to these structures and add some more simple details for this round structure in the back. I think this round structure, along with the diagonal wall, really helped to break up everything in this world and add a little bit of variety. Then, turning our attention back to the temple to add the finishing touches of details to the path and all of the colors back in. Once I'm happy with the temple details, there is one last section of city to build up, and we're just going to be doing this the same as before with a beautiful rope bridge connecting them. Once all of our background details are in place, we can focus a little bit more on the foreground where we have some poorer, maybe rural villages down along the water. Instead of using stone for these, I'm going to be decorating them out with sandstone and wood. I'm hoping this will lend the effect that this is a little bit more of a poorer area. I also add lots of crates and melons down below on these docks for little details. Then we're going to do the exact same thing over on the other side. Once that's done, a simple pathway going up the rock and a rope bridge connecting it to some more city features really adds in that final touch of detail, along with a tower to help it blend in and make a little bit more sense. Now that I'm happy with my city, it's time to start thinking about our jungle. I want to add back in the jungle, but I want it to be a little bit more epic than it was before. So I'm building some of my classic trees using the Worldedit curve command for the branches. Then I'm using a scatter brush for the leaves and creating vines with the CS build vine command. I'll leave a link to the tutorials on all of these commands up in the corner if you click the little eye. I am able to use entities as vines because I build in my world with ticks off so that blocks and entities stay exactly where I place them. Now it's time to add a little bit of color and a touch of fantasy into our build. So I went with some very colorful, oversized mushrooms just to add a little flair to this build. Then some smaller trees as well as a jungle root. I think a jungle root is really important here because we have so many cliffs exposed, it just makes sense. And once these last assets are in, our build is complete. Let's go visit our jungle build, shall we? Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you liked my take on an amplified jungle transformation. Remember, if you would like to see more of this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave me some suggestions in the comments on what build you would like to see me do next. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye!